We're going to get into some wild Browns trade ideas in just a moment, but help me reach 16,700 subscribers. If you haven't already subbed, please go ahead and do so. And if you're looking for a good reason, if we reach that number on today's video, I'm going to drink a full beer out of my dog bowl, usually reserved just for game days, but RIP game days for 2022. So if you want to see a grown man drink a beer out of a dog bowl like a K9, hit that sub button. What's going on, Browns fans? Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report by Chat Sports. I am your host, Matthew Peterson. And more importantly, welcome to the 2023 NFL offseason. It has arrived. The crazy, wild rumors are all over the web, and we're going to break it down for you throughout the entire offseason. So, 3 quick rules, because I already know someone's going to comment clickbait, and that's not my intent at all. I do want to remind you guys, nothing is impossible. I remember a year ago, right around now, talking about wild QB trade targets, and Watson was a part of that list. A lot of people said that would never happen. Look where we are now. No one ever said Tyreek Hill would get traded. The list goes on and on. So, nothing is impossible. Prepare for wild moves to be made. Whether it includes the Browns or not, just buckle up, baby. The NFL offseason is better than, I would say, most seasons like in season. And also, just go into this kind of stuff knowing, hey, it might be off the wall. It might be a bit crazy. We're going to have fun. It's January, February of the offseason. You know, sit back, relax, and crack a cold one open with me as we're going to jump into some wild stuff. But let's start with some trade buzz here. I mean, I don't want to say I told you so, but almost a month ago I said, hey, keep an eye on DeAndre Hopkins. We might get some serious trade traction. And a month ago, people said, that's never going to happen. This is clickbait. And here we are now with Jordan Schultz tweeting out that basically DeAndre Hopkins will likely be traded as the Cardinals look to reset. And Hopkins, plus 30 years old, expensive wide receiver, not really a part of a reset or a retool or a rebuild. So you couple that with DeAndre Hopkins himself going to Instagram, posting a picture saying, forever grateful. So it seems like D-Hop is done in the desert. And there's going to be a lot of teams interested in the 3-time Pro Bowl or a 5-time whatever all-pro wide receiver. His stats speak for themselves. Now, there has been a dip the last 2 seasons, not because of his skill set, but because of the lack of availability. He missed the first 6 games of this year due to a PED suspension. And the year before that, he had some off-and-on injuries pop up. So, the last 2 years have not been, I wouldn't say bad for Hopkins because, look, he's put up 11 touchdowns in the last 2 years when he's played in, just 19 games. So, to me, that's still pretty good production. But Hopkins, we know, is a stud, right? Look at his career here. 5-time Pro Bowler, 3-time first-time All-Pro, long time with the Cardinals, which is where he kind of met Deshaun Watson, right? You look at the overlap Deshaun Watson had with DeAndre Hopkins, and they formed a great connection. Part of the reason why Watson wanted out of Houston. They traded away his best receiver for nothing. 31 touchdowns. So you can see where the wheels start to move in Browns fans' head. DeAndre Hopkins on the market. He overlapped with Watson. They had a great time in Houston. He's also just a complete stud and one of the best in the league. What more do we have to say? As always, the financials, right? Wall Street side of things here. The dead cap hit for 2023 is $22.6 million. That's a big number for Arizona, but they're going to be willing to eat it if they get a good pick return, right? If they get a good return, good haul for DeAndre Hopkins, $22 million in a year where they're not trying to win, they can stomach that. Decent cap savings, that's really not all that much here. Listen, when it comes to trading for Hopkins, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. He's a stud. I'm not opposed to getting good players. Does he actually help the Browns, though? Right? Like, yeah, he's going to be a great addition to the receiver room because he's DeAndre freaking Hopkins, but the Browns need a speedy slot receiver. That's not D-Hop, right? We're just getting another version of what they already have in Amari Cooper and Donovan Peoples-Jones, right? They need to go out and get someone who can stretch the seam over the middle of the field, who can draw a linebacker or a safety with them. Hopkins can make incredible plays, but I don't know if adding Hopkins to this roster is actually going to fulfill what this team needs on offense. And that's what Anthony Schwartz was supposed to be, right? I don't know why I just gave him a stray bullet, but a speedy guy in the slot here. But for all of you that still want Hopkins, and I can't persuade you otherwise, because I'm not even opposed to the idea, I just don't think it's like that's going to be the thing that pushes this team over the edge. What about this? Hopkins for a second-round pick. I'm not quite sure what he'll go for. Cooper went for a fifth, but that was a bad trade from the Cowboys. Claypool went for a second. That's a bad trade from the Bears. Hopkins is much better than those. Well, he's much better than Claypool. He's better than Amari Cooper. But he's older and more expensive, so a second rounder? Like, would you do this trade for D-Hop straight up? The Browns then don't have a first or a second round pick, but they're getting a bona fide stud in DeAndre Hopkins. And we go into next year going, wow, the Browns have Deshaun Watson, Nick Chubb, David Njoku, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Amari Cooper, and DeAndre Hopkins. And I haven't even mentioned some of the best linemen in all of football. That's a scary offense, no doubt about it. So for all of you that are saying pass, and I'm putting my pass in the comment section as well, there are some good wide receivers that I think will be on the board in round 2. The draft is always a crapshoot this far out, so these names might rise and fall as we get towards, the combine and stuff like that. But Kayshon Boutte, I like saying Booty, it's more fun. Sorry, Kayshon. Jalen Hyatt, right? Go Vols. Jalen Hyatt, he's definitely got Haslam's attention, as Haslam, right? Tennessee connection, so keep an eye on that name. Josh Downs, I really like Josh Downs. He's a slot receiver, right? That's exactly what the Browns are looking for. And then Jackson Smith and Jigba, I don't think he'll be there in round 2. I don't think he will be. But I also didn't think DK Metcalf that one year would fall to round 2. It happens once in a while. Maybe the injuries are a bit worrisome for a few GMs, and he slips into round 2. You know what I mean? Kind of like George Pickens last year. Just keep an eye on that here. So next up on the show, we're going to talk about a wild bombshell trade idea involving Aaron Donald, baby. Yeah, that's right. We'll get to that in just a second. But today's show was made possible by BetUS. Now, I stood here yesterday and I said I am taking Cowboys minus 2.5, and you guys tore me a new one. So now I want to hear what your picks are, and then make your picks. When you go to chatsports.com/bet and you use promo code Browns125, I'm riding with the boys minus 2.5. The Bucks just suck. Let me know what your pick is. Sounded like no Lamar Jackson, so it could be free money. Definitely no Tua, so we got a couple backups playing. Yuck. Now let's move on here. Let's talk about Aaron Donald, because Mike Florio from Pro Football Talk tweeted out the other day, in July 2022, Aaron Donald said he'll stay as long as Sean McVay does. If McVay goes, what will Donald do? So that sort of got the wheels turning in my brain of, yeah, what will Aaron Donald do if Sean McVay decides this last year sucked? We don't even have a first-round pick this year. It arguably could be worse next year, and Amazon's offering a whole lot of money to work the sideline for Thursday Night Football. Might go do that. Right off the bat, right off the top, I want to state this so it's abundantly clear. The Browns do not have what it would take to acquire Aaron Donald. Thus, I see a very small chance of them ever pulling off such a trade. Having said all that, just imagine, right? Sean McVay retires. Aaron Donald's like, I want to be traded. He's from the area, born and raised in Pittsburgh, not too far. He's like, let me team up with Myles Garrett, J.O.K., Denzel Ward, Grant Delpit, Martin Emerson, right? And let's make the #1 defense in the NFL in Cleveland. Just imagine. I know it's not going to happen, but I can dream. That's the offseason. The offseason's all about dreaming, okay? Then I pair that with what Aaron Donald himself said a couple months ago. We came up with some things early, and I first told him as long as he's the head coach here, I want to continue to build my legacy with him. As long as he's here and I got the ability to still play at a high level, I'm going to be here. When he's gone and it's all said and done, that probably will be when I'm hanging it up too. So now we start to see this isn't so much about the Browns necessarily right now, but just some NFL buzz here of if Sean McVay leaves, which I still think I wouldn't leave out Sean McVay. Like, you're really young. You really just wanted to hang it up after winning one Super Bowl. But if Sean McVay does decide to go chase bigger money at the networks or whatever, what does Aaron Donald do, right? Mike Florio in that tweet wrote about it in an article saying, if he retires now, that's a different story. He'd have to pay back some of the money he has received, and he'd give up $28.5 million in compensation due in 2023. Another possibility would be to seek a trade to a contending team, a la the Browns. That would entail a sizable cap charge, and Donald would have to want to do it. His contract has a no-trade clause. That's why I'm including Aaron Donald in today's video. Right now, if a trade were to go down, like Florio said, it would be a lot of money moving around. I don't see it happening pre-June 1st, right? There's just way too much money for the Rams to lose. Post-June 1st, it's still not good. It's a $29 million dead cap hit for 2023, but the Rams don't have any picks. So maybe they would want to go reverse on F them picks. The Browns don't have a first-round pick to offer, which Aaron Donald probably goes for 2 firsts, a second, and a player, I feel like, maybe. So if Aaron Donald does get traded, I won't be, like, blown away by it. Is he going to go to the Browns? Most likely not, because how could the Browns make a competitive offer without a first-round pick this year or next year? But maybe, no, I can't even do a maybe. He's not going to happen, but it would be cool. Like, that's all I'm trying to say. It would be super awesome, we have to admit here. Before I sign off here, I host trivia in person down at the bar down the street here. All the Chat Sports employees come, and I wanted to bring some trivia to you guys here. So, trivia to go. I'll be in the comment section responding to the right and wrong answers. Who was the leading wide receiver? That's kind of a hint. Wide receiver in 2017. Get your answers, get your guesses down below. I appreciate all of you guys for making us a part of your day. I'm going to sign off. I'll see you guys tomorrow with some buzz. I saw maybe Brian Flores emerging as a early #1 candidate to be the Browns DC. So that's probably going to be tomorrow's show. I'll sign off and see you guys then.